God is good when? Ooh, yes, God is. So my question to you this morning is, can you keep the dream alive in the middle of a nightmare? That was not where this story started out, but that's where it is right now. Oh, Divine One. So have you lost or have we lost the dream for justice and unity? Our spiritual principle says that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We envision and work for a world that works for everyone. Now, envisioning is necessary to enliven and bring up the vibrations of the universe so we get in tune with it. But let me be clear, that you got to do more than envision it. You're going to have to work for it. There is very little personal responsibility in personal envisioning. But the question is does your visioning and does your love and your oneness actually move you to a place where you understand that we all have to work for everyone to have a world where they can thrive in? It takes work for us to bring about the world where everyone thrives. You can think about it all you want. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for that. It's only half of the equation, though. The other half of the equation is the work that is necessary for us to bring it about. The vision only has a certain level of personal responsibility. It is the work that we are all called to do that separates the people who are just dreaming from those who are making the dream possible. And we have all been called to participate in the divine plan and dream of the divine. That is our calling, because all of the problems that we have in the world, we have created as humanity. They were not always there. It is our belief and our lack of goodness that brings certain things into our experience. So this morning, we want to talk about working for a world that works for everyone. And I'm going to quote from Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream sermon, because I've always wanted to do it. I really want to do the whole thing, and I thought about it, but I won't. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise and live out its true meaning of creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal. There is one day that the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the former slave owners will sit down at the same table. I have a dream that one day that even in a state boiling with the heart of injustice and boiling with the heat of oppression will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that one day that little black boys and black girls and little white girls and white boys will be able to sit down and hold hands together and share one with another as brothers and sisters. I have a dream one day that every valley shall be exalted and every hill and mountain made low, the crooked places straight and the rough places flattened. For this is the revelation of the God that we serve in the earth. The divine shall be revealed in all people, and we will all see it together. What a dream. Can we hold on to that dream when all the evidence seems to appear that everyone is working against that dream? Can we dream anyway? It's not always going to be easy, but hope that is seen is not hope at all. It's the hope, it's the things that we don't see. Faith is about not knowing and trusting anyway. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, and he gave this on the March on Washington. It was a march for jobs and for freedom, because he said, you can't be free if you ain't got a job. There's something about practical spirituality, right? That you need to be able to do it. And to do it, you are going to need a job. Now, if you're filthy rich and money just pours out to you, amen, and your tithe is still 10%. The speech calls us not only for civil rights, but to believe in justice, equality, equity, and unity. And at a time when everything and every piece of evidence says, no, it's not true. Remember, he was 39 years old in 1968, and they were still sending dogs out against him. They were still turning on fire hydrants. We think we got it difficult? I've never had to fight a fire hydrant. I've never had to fight a fire hydrant. And so we are still called at this time to do exactly what was done at that time. Nonviolent resistance identifies that there are three evils, and those three evils are not supernatural. That's not what we teach. We do not believe it's supernatural. You can blame racism on the devil if you want to. There is no accountability in that. The accountability resides within humanity. It's not supernatural. You don't get to blame the devil up in here. We own where we are. And it's nice to be able to cast it off to someone else and then assume that someone else is supposed to resolve the problem. But no one else is going to resolve the problem for us but us. And how do I know that's true? Because we're all in this ship together. We're all in here together. We're all in the same ship. All in the same ship. You thought you wasn't in the ship? Yeah, you in the ship now. And if you don't understand that metaphor, talk to me afterward. We're all in the ship. Evil is not supernatural. And it really, I think, is terrible that people have been taught that. I was taught that growing up. All I had to do was rebuke the devil. That's all I had to do. It was rebuke the devil. Take that power away. But you take the power away from the thought. It's not some being that's making us do anything. Guess what? God doesn't make us do anything. We can't even blame God on how we acted out yesterday. If you told off your spouse or your loved one, I don't really wonder whether or not that was the divine. I think somehow or another we had just kind of dipped into our own stuff right there. Because love is always there, and love is always forgiving, and love can only love. So sometimes we step outside of love to a place that we create harm for other people. The decision that creates these circumstances is all about conditions. This whole experience is about conditions. It has been created by us. The decision to create racism and poverty and what exists within the world right now is only a condition. And because it has been created, it can be recreated into something different. It is fueled by fear. It is fueled by fear. Because when you are fearful, you will do anything to make someone else feel small. Thank you for that, Dre. Fueled by fear. And fear is the fuel that never runs out if you tap into it. You never have to worry about a refill. There's something about fear that is self-perpetuating. There are three evils that we're discussing: poverty, racism, and militarism. And these are only conditions. Conditions are not causes. They are the effect of the cause that we have used. It is only our reaction to the circumstance, which means we could behave differently. The conditions are always subject to change. If you don't remember anything else about what I say, remember this, that you're loved anyway, you're already loved, and the second thing is a condition is subject to change. The only thing that is eternal and will not change is principle. So your situation, if it is unpleasant, if you have any issues in your life, they are subject to change. And we start by changing our minds, turning away from the condition and turning ourselves toward the divine. They are not limited to any group. Everyone has suffered from these issues. When you are afraid and terrorized in your own experience, when you worry about being stopped by the police, if you wonder if your child is going to make it home after walking to school, that is terrorism. That's the militarism that has existed in our country that we have to move away from. There's no love in that. Obviously, that's fear. And just because you have a bigger gun than someone else does not mean it's right. It doesn't mean that it's right. Some people have suffered more than others, and if you haven't suffered, wait your turn. Because I am here to tell you, we are all in the same boat before it's over. Have we lost the dream, though? And when all the evidence is to the contrary, can we maintain the dream of justice and unity? Not to win against the oppressor. Now I have to tell you the truth regardless to how I feel. Because I want to win that war too. Okay? I have the same thoughts just like you. When I hear something that offends me, I want to go after it as well. And I immediately go back and turn back into my father, who, by the way, Horace was something else, y'all. And Horace took no mess off of anybody, okay? And I practiced living that way in Detroit. That you did not disrespect me, that was not gonna happen. And then I had to find out that, sometimes that I had an edge on me, even when I didn't need it. But it is nice to be able to pull it up when you need it. Because there's sometimes when my back goes up, I know Detroit has shown up. Here comes Horace. Here comes Horace. 250,000 people, a diverse group of people, were listening to Martin when he gave this speech. Now, I'd love to take credit for this because, this was the second time he gave I Have a Dream. The first time was in Detroit. We were first. He felt we needed it first. To have a dream. That racial segregation and discrimination was prevalent at the time. Isn't it wonderful that that doesn't exist any longer? It was a part of American life. It was part of the fabric of our country. And some of that fabric is still around. There's some remnants of that fabric that are still around. But the struggle for civil rights is not just a political movement. That's not it at all. It's a moral imperative. I am not one of those science of mind, new thought teachers that tells you it's all good. That is not true. Some things are wrong, and some people are wrong, have wrong behavior. You may not be wrong at your essence, and the spark of the divine may be in there, but I gotta dig past your stuff until I find it. Because if you mistreat me, yes, I'm going to hold you in the light. But there's just a natural reaction that we want to defend ourselves. It is a moral imperative that we change as a nation and that we make it possible for people to live free everywhere. Martin's statements have become a beacon of hope for all kinds of marginalized and oppressed people. And I think he would be proud of that. Racial issues were the most prominent topic at that particular time in 1968, but there's a few more in that line right now. Let's talk about race. Let's talk about gender expression. Let's talk about poverty. We can talk about all of the groups, the brown people, the black people, poor white people, whoever you are that are oppressed. It's just not one group. One group may have had institutionalized oppression. We won that war of institutionalized oppression. But there are others who have to deal with it as well. And they deserve justice as much as the rest of us. Yeah. I think one of my concerns, and I grew up in black church, but one of my concerns about the black church was when the issues came up about sexual expression and sexuality and all that kind of thing, the church just turned its back on it. It was civil rights or nothing. And it was as if the civil rights didn't apply to their children. The nice thing about it is, it's not long before if you really have a tendency to judge other people, it eventually is going to show up in your life. And there's nothing like when it shows up in your children. You may throw them out, but they still yours, right? So justice, and justice is God's street name. And that's God's street name is justice. Yes, God is love, but God is justice. And it is justice for everyone, not just the people who are in control. And that's why we just can't seek to be in control. We have to seek justice for all. So when we hear the stories about certain groups of people losing their rights that have been given them recently, it is a call for all of us, whether or not we have to deal with it personally or not. We are all being oppressed. You know somebody you love that's being oppressed. But it's, can we have the dream, and can we work for the dream when all the evidence says it's not true? Envisioning a world where individuals are not judged by the color of their skin, their gender expression, their gender, or their economic status, but the content of their character. I think Martin would be fine for me to expound upon this speech, that it includes everyone, particularly his daughter. By the way, if you guys don't know, she's an out lesbian. You guys didn't know that? Oops. I guess I outed her. She is, by the way. She is out. You guys didn't know that? Okay. Okay, let's get back to the topic at hand. The vision of equality is not patronizing people and just saying that freedom should be for everyone. But the question is do we work toward it being manifested in our communities and our workplaces and within our families? And families can be hard to love. We all have family members that we brace ourselves when they open their mouth, because we know there is no telling what this person is going to say. And I have to love you anyway, because that's what I'm called to do. But fostering love and affection, and again, it doesn't mean that we don't address it. In fact, we should. I mean, there are often times within my family I've had to say, you are out of line. You can have your opinions. That's perfectly fine. But you don't get to place your judgments on me because you don't like me. Because if you don't like me, get over it. I'm not going to change. I am the representation of the divine. What do I have to change for? There is nothing for me to be but be more of me, and you to be more of you. It doesn't mean that it's always easy or that it is welcome. But whatever, don't let anyone convince you that you are wrong or less than having all the benefits and freedoms of everyone else. Sometimes I may not be able to tell you, but in my mind, I know I'm still free. And you have to know in your own mind, because that's how you have to hold on to a dream when all the evidence says it's not possible. But it is possible. It is possible. Why is it possible? Because there are people all over this country who are saying, that's just not right. And we have to call attention to it as well. But we should all make sure that we are not just defending our oppression, that we are representing all people that are oppressed. We believe in unity in diversity. There is nothing about us that has to be the same except for the spark of the divine that is within all. The rest of it, you get to be you, and I get to be me. And the people I don't like get to be them. You just don't get to oppress me when you do it. That's the difference. The dream. Can you hold on to a dream when all the evidence says it is not possible? And don't forget this. No, it's not possible, but with God, all things are possible. If it is a goal that you can achieve, it is a goal. It's the dream that you need the Spirit to manifest in your life. And we participate in that experience. Faith without work is dead, being alone. And so it is.